We are ready. Raven fans, Oriole fans, thank you very much for joining us this week on the Ravery Sports Podcast. For fans like me, like and subscribe to all of our new social media content here. You're watching us now. Our first broadcast of this is Wednesday, 8 o'clock on the X, on YouTube, and on Twitch. Thank you very much for joining us here. For all those endeavors as well. Over 300 followers now on Twitch, not on Twitch, on Twitter, which was or X, formerly known as Twitter, as well. New subscriber this week on YouTube. We appreciate that as well. Out there, tell everybody you know. Okay, so if you like this Baltimore sports content, we're not going to slow up here in the summer. Okay, so we got a lot of good stuff here in the summer. We do football first. In order of things, first the Rave, then the Ori. So we go ahead and do that, but we do not slow up during the summer. We're going to be talking minor league baseball summer coming up on Memorial Day to go ahead and get that squared away. So definitely check that out, the beginning of that series. First one, we're going to be talking about the outstanding Norfolk Tides during the baseball summer as well. How good has that team been this summer? Genesis Notary Services / Facebook. So definitely, if you want to book time with us here in the Shenandoah Valley area, you can go ahead and go Genesis Notary Services. You can go ahead and book time right on the website every day. So you can go ahead and do that. Go to Google. Google us. Google Genesis Notary Services, Winchester, Virginia. Make sure you put that in because that name is used in different places. But Genesis Notary Services, Winchester, Virginia, you put that in just through Google. You can book appointments on both. You can book appointment right on the Google. You can book appointment there. And you can send us an email, the email and all that information. I'll even give that gnswinchester@gmail.com. Okay, so you can book time for us as well. We are, Charles Harris, we are LegalShield.com. It's a website. You can buy your Legal Shield right on the site. So business owners especially. I'm going to be sending out a lot of letters to business owners this week. I spent a lot of my weekend doing that, sending out letters to business owners to get that squared away. So definitely check it out. Value of the legal is tremendous. So definitely go ahead and check it out. RayRaySports.company.site. We got some new stuff. If you haven't been on there in a while, we got some new Lamar jerseys. We got some new Orioles hats on there, revamping it a bit, making some change. So definitely check it out. I'm going to be unveiling the app instructions pretty soon. So it's almost done as far as getting app as well. So if you want to go on your app right on your phone and get the stuff from Ravery Sports as well, maybe having a giveaway soon. So keep that in mind as well. Now we got some new stuff and we're going to go ahead and do a giveaway as well. Maybe you get a chance to tell your friends about Ravery Sports and subscribe. We're going to give some stuff away. All right. So let's get down to business of the NFL. So the schedule as of right now has not been released. We're predicting, shout out to official Gator 9 YouTube channel, that the schedule will be released on May 14th at 8 o'clock. So we don't know that has not been official from what I saw, thinking that's going to be the day at 8 o'clock. The next day, next week, we're going to go over the schedule. Okay, so we think it'll be next week. So this week, we're going to go over our division here, the AFC North. And the AFC North with the old prime time music. Chris Berman talking about the Central, the North. Like, I don't even know what that is. That's ice hockey. The AFC North, the North Division ice hockey used to be the Central Division, basically, of ice hockey. They used to name it Smythe Division, Patrick Division, etc. For ice hockey. A lot of people don't even know what that is anymore. But we're here to talk about the AFC North. So why are we doing this? What's important in football? Okay, so I know a lot of you fans are focused on the Chiefs. I understand that. You, as far as you're concerned, you got to skip right to the AFC Championship game and get to the Chiefs. I understand that. But the first thing you want to do, the first order of business, is still win games, win your division. So who's in the division? The AFC North is still a very, very good division. Some debate whether it's still the best division in all of football, but you had 3 teams go to the playoffs from the North last year. Browns went, Squealers went, and the Bengals were still not bad. I mean, I think they were over 500 even without Joe Burrow. So they have 2 decent quarterbacks. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out this year with the North. But any coach will tell you, first order of business, win the division. So what's in the division? So we're not going to be predicting the division, but we're going to be talking a little bit about not just the Ravens here in this segment, but all the teams in the AFC North. So let's take a look. Comparison. So we're going to go over the positions, strengths and weaknesses of the teams in the division, what exactly that they have, what that they don't have, what are strengths and weaknesses, how it might play out in terms of that kind of where teams lie at this point. Now, at this point of the offseason, right, we're done with the free agency for the most part, most of the big free agents. We're going to do a segment on like what's left in free agents. But a lot of the big free agents already done. Draft now over. The teams are in large part built. The Ravens last year, I think, had an unusual amount of guys that they signed late in the process, June, July, whatever, that were really good. But for the most, we know, right? We're here in May. Now we know, right? So what do they look like right now? A lot of these teams. Quarterback, number 1, Lamar Jackson, obviously. Lamar won the MVP last season. I thought Lamar was terrific. Stayed healthy, which was impressive. He looks a lot less fresher. I said it all year. He looked a lot fresher, a lot crisper, all at the end. I thought Lamar looked better. He had a better group of receivers. He was able to throw the ball more. We'll get to receiver. Receiver group maybe not as good, but Lamar still number 1. Joe Burrow, some people would argue that he's number 1. I think the only argument with him, though, is after injury last year is the argument is against Lamar, rather, is that he's had success against Pat Mahomes. He's the only one in the whole league. Really nobody else other than it's been Joe Burrow and Tom Brady, really the only 2 that have had any success against Pat Mahomes. So he's number 2. I'll put him in the 2 spot. I'm not giving up quite on Deshaun Watson. A lot of people seem to be that. I think he actually started to turn himself around before the injury. He kind of scuffled a bit. He hadn't played a lot of games. So I think this is key, though, for him. Interesting to see how they feel about him if he comes out to a slow start again, doesn't look good in camp as well. But I have him 3rd. Russell Wilson, I have 4th. Some people might have him 3rd. I don't know how much is left for Russell. I think this situation is much better for him, though, obviously. There's going to be no pressure on him. Justin Fields is also there, but there's no pressure on Russell. Better group of receivers. He's going to have a more free hand in the offense. I'm sure he's got a defensive coach, so he's not going to have to be as structured with Sean Payton. I think they're going to do things catered to him, but I think it's 4th. This division is too good for him to be higher. I will say though, it's still an upgrade for the Steelers, like over Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph, and what they had last year. So that's good. Number one, Baltimore Ravens. Derrick Henry, I think, might be the best running back in the league. If he's not the best running back, and certainly the best running back in that division. I think also too, you look at the Ravens' ability to run the football. They will run the football. I think having Henry there is a good thing. They did draft Ali in the draft. They still have Justice Hill, but Henry is the star here. Number one. Nick Chubb. Some people might argue that and say Nick Chubb, but Nick Chubb didn't play a lot at the end of last year. Jacoby Ford, I will say Ford, the backup was very good. Thought they did sign back Kareem Hunt after he went down. But Ford, I thought was good. I thought that was a good. So decent 1-2 punch. I'm not sure what they have left in Chubb, as good as he was before the injury, but he was out for a pretty bad injury he had. We'll see how well and how good he comes back here. Squealers at 3. They did go ahead and have Najee Harris. I think Jalen Warren, I think, was their best running back for a large portion of the year. Kind of in the second half, Harris kind of came around. They didn't pick up the 5th-year option with the Squealers. So that's a thing. You wonder what they feel about him not picking up the 5th-year option. And the Bengals, no Joe Mixon there anymore as well. So they're going to be ahead starting Moss there. They're going to go ahead and start Moss and Zach Moss for them. So, yeah, they're definitely 4th there as well. Interesting to see what the Bengals are doing. I kind of didn't understand why they wanted to get rid of Mixon. I did all I could to keep him, and I think the cap was hurting them. Number 1, not Ravens this time. It's Cincinnati. Cincinnati, I'm giving them the number 1 as far as the receivers. When you're comparing the receivers, T. Higgins is still there. So that's still a thing. I'm still going to put them in the number 1 spot. I don't think they're going to trade him, at least this year. I do think they are going to go ahead and keep him there for at least for the rest of the year. Keep him there at the position. You know how good Jamar Chase is. I think Chase might be the best receiver still in the NFL. They did go ahead and Jermaine Burton. Very interesting. Jermaine Burton was a very interesting pick. This is Bengal-like, getting Jermaine Burton there as well to fill in for Tyler Boyd. It's Bengal-like because he's got a checkered off field and he's very talented. So this is a guy that really kind of surprised people. He had some bad off-field stuff, but if they can get him straightened out, they can go ahead and turn him around. The Squealers. Squealers, I think they did go ahead and still have George Pickens there as far as at the starters go. So that's a good thing. They do have George Pickens to go ahead and start for him. They did go ahead and get rid of Deontay Johnson. They went ahead and traded him away. So they're going to be starting Roman Wilson and possibly Van Jefferson there as well. They have a history of developing receivers. I did factor that in here. So the Steelers, even though they lost to Deontay Johnson, they do have a history of developing good receivers. I'm going to put the Browns 3rd here. They did go ahead and get Jerry Jeudy. I don't love him that much as well. Amari Cooper, I think, is possibly on the downside, although he's been good throughout recent years. But I think it's 3rd. I think they're behind those other 2 teams. Ravens are in 4th again. I think they're stronger than they were a few years ago. But again, you still got a lot of unproven guys. Zay Flowers, I think, is clearly, in the number 1 spot. They're going to give Rashard Bateman every chance to go ahead and do it. Can he stay healthy for a whole season as well? Devontae Walker, they went ahead and got in the draft as well. We'll see. I think it's 4th in this division of good receivers in that division. They are tops of the board at tight ends. This is easily, I think this might be number 1 in the entire league. We got Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely there. I don't think there's better than that. I don't know who that is. Charlie Kolar, who I think is good as well, hasn't been able to even get on the field that much as well. Depends. We'll see. I think they're very good. I think they're very good. I think it doesn't to me quite make up for the receiver deficiency, but they're really really good. David Njoku was good last year. Absolutely, he was. David Njoku was at number 2. He definitely worked his way up. I thought like definitely right near the top of the league as far as uh, tight ends. So a good resurgence for David Njoku and tight end. Squealers fall back a bit. You might have said Pat Fairmouth a couple years ago, and I don't think he's off the reservation. I kind of think he's in the same spot as uh, kind of like a Rashad Bateman. Got to prove himself to be healthy long enough to go ahead and do it. They did go ahead. They still have Darnell Washington, Connor Hayward there. Still have some work to do in that sense. Bengals, I think they're at the rear. I think they still have Hayden Hurst there. Their tight end group is not nearly as strong as their wide receiver group. I'm sorry, they have Mike Gesicki. Mike Gesicki, I'm sorry. That was a few years ago. Mike Gesicki and Drew Sample. So we'll see about that as well. I think it's 4th for them. The offensive line. Now, this is interesting. Hard to predict here with the lines because there's some shuffling going on. I got the Browns here at the top. Jared Willis, Joe Patano, Wyatt Teller, Conklin on the line, along with Ponick as well. I'm going to go ahead and put them first. I think the run game and the history shows that as well, that they know how to run the ball. That's what they're for sure going to do. That's what they've been doing. They're definitely going to run the football. I think it's the best line overall as a group. They don't have the best player necessarily, but I think it's the best line. The Ravens, this is for the most part a nod to Tyler Linderbaum. I think Linderbaum might really be last year, I think he broke out. I think just as we thought he would, he may be the best center in the NFL. I think maybe Creed Humphrey may be the only guy ahead of him, and we'll see. Filling some holes. I again, this is a little bit of a nod to what they've already done. Interesting to see what happens with Voorhees and Ben Cleveland and the right and left guard competition. I think they're fine everywhere else. I think Ronnie Stanley's got to stay healthy, and Rose Garden, I think, is going to start for them at the other tackle. So it'll be interesting to see. Bengals are not at the bottom. Bengals are a little bit higher. Not great. I do like. I do like Orlando Brown. I think that's there. They did go ahead and get Trent Brown to play on the other side. I feel like they should be a little bit better because they put a lot of resources into getting better. They need to protect Burrow more, but I think it's for the Steelers. You have no idea what they're getting. Although I do like their draft, Fatanu and Zach Frazier as well. So I think there's a lot to like there as well. But at 4th, they're still pretty young. Broderick Jones, you still don't know yet. They're at 4th. D-line. So D-line, I think number 1 is the Browns. You got Myles Garrett there. I think Garrett might be the best defensive player in the league there as well. So I don't think there's any question about that, what they're capable of. Bengals, I think they are sliding a little bit. They for years now, they've had Hendrickson and they've had Sam Hubbard on the ends. And I said, well, you got really good ends there. They still have BJ Hill, maybe getting a little older. They're sliding a little bit. Ravens, Matabuke, $25 million. Justin Matabuke is really good. I think the 3-4 line, not as many bodies in there. I'd like to see a little bit more development from Travis Jones, even though Michael Pierce has been really good as well, and Broderick Washington has been decent. Steelers, I think Cam Hayward is still there. They need him to stay healthy to do that. They're not nearly – this isn't nearly as good as some of the 3-4 in lines that they've had throughout the years. But they need Cam Hayward to stay healthy. They need to have that happen to go ahead and get that taken care of. A few more. Linebackers, the Squealers. How good is TJ Watt? I mean, TJ Watt is phenomenal. I mean, there's no questioning whether he is good. Guess who's there in Pittsburgh? Patrick Queen. I can't believe it. Patrick Queen is there in Pittsburgh. That's a wow. I'm still like, that's unbelievable. So he's going to make that. He wants to prove too that he can lead a team as well to success. You also have Highsmith, I think, is an outstanding pass rusher on the other side. So with that group is terrific. Ravens, I think, are really good as well on the inside. I think like you have Roquan Smith, who might be the best inside linebacker in the entire NFL. I think Trenton Simpson is going to come in and play well as well. Question whether the end outside Oweh, they're believing that he's going to go ahead and do it. They did sign Van Noy. Good depth there. I think that too. The other teams as well in this division, linebackers are kind of meh. The Bengals linebacker, I don't like. I've never liked for the last couple of years their back seven, the Bengals, and I still really don't like them. Jermaine Pratt, Logan Wilson, not bad, I suppose. Eric Gaither, they're okay, not well. Browns, differing opinions. I'm not as in love with it as other teams, other people seem to be as far as their linebackers. I do like their inside guy, Jordan Hicks. I think I do like him. They got Devin Bush there. I'm not as sold on that on their linebacking crew. I don't think it matters much because they have a great defensive line. Ravens secondary is top shelf, no question about it. The safety group is as good as any in the league. Marcus Williams, I think a lot of people have forgotten how good he is. I think you can keep him healthy. He's great. Kyle Hamilton, is he the number one safety in the whole league? He might be. He's certainly getting a lot of respect around the league. Good draft getting Nate Wiggins. That's an excellent move. You improve the secondary. TJ Tampa in the draft to go along with Marlon Humphrey, and Brandon Stevens was terrific last year. I thought he was their best corner all season long. The Browns, Denzel Ward was really good for them, has been really good for them. They did get Grant Pulpit as well, Thornhill, okay-ish. I think like their corners are pretty good. I think not great, but pretty good. The Squealers, I do like Mike Fitzpatrick. I mean, you gotta give a nod to him. I think that's not a lot there, and I do like the ascending of Joey Porter, so that puts him in third. The Bengals are not good. I don't like their back end at all. They did get better. They're probably better than last year. They did go get Geno Stone, our guy. He's going to go start for them. Along, they did bring Von Bell back, so I think they're going to be better than they were, but still not in love with it there. Ravens, I think maybe one of the best special teams groups in the league. You have the GOAT, Justin Tucker. You're going to have Nick Moore back this year. I think it's an outstanding special team group. The Browns, I think, are pretty good as well. The Squealers, typical Squealers, I think Boswell is still a really good kicker, and the Bengals have issues. Their coaching, I know. AFC Championship game. John Harbaugh is number one. John Harbaugh has won a Super Bowl. John Harbaugh's got a lot of experience. John Harbaugh's first. Tomlin, same. He's been able to take a team that's been pretty mediocre and kind of get them to the playoffs every year. Browns, I think, have been good. I think they had coach of the year last year, so definitely there's a lot to like there. And I think the Bengals coach is good as well, even though they didn't go to the playoffs last year considering the circumstances. So all around, good coaching in this division. We're going to nod Harbaugh. He's won Super Bowl. I know. AFC Championship game. There you go. All right. So the North. Interesting to see what happens. This is going to be a tough division, guys. I don't want anybody to think that, okay, we're just going to breathe through it. Next week, we'll probably be going through the schedule unless they surprise us. But it'll be interesting to see. I think the strengths are kind of the same as last year. Quarterback, running back, tight end, Offensive line still up in the air. You got good help on the D line. Linebacker, kind of, sort of, but they play a lot of DB. The DBs, I think, are much better, so they're a strength. So we'll see how we do in the north of the AFC. All right, so just a little comparison there. No predictions yet. We're gonna do that at some point, and we're definitely gonna do that in the offseason, but not quite yet. Rookie mini camp was last week. So we went ahead and went over that. Not a lot to go over when minicamp. Interesting. Voorhees was participating in it. Okay. So he's a second-year player, technically speaking, but he didn't play at all last year. He did go to the minicamp as well. John Harbaugh was very complimentary of Voorhees. Definitely, I consider him the favorite right now at left guard to go ahead and start. Isaac wasn't there the first couple days, but he was watching. He did actually go ahead and get to play eventually. Isaac was really good when I did see him. Ali didn't play because he was returning from a bicep injuries, and Nick Samak had returning from a leg injury, didn't play as well. So again, interesting to see the rookies there out there as well. Voorhees, I think, was the eye opener there as well. Very complimentary the Ravens were of him, Jonathan Voorhees, in the rookie minicamp, getting some work in. NBA playoffs. All right. Some of you are surprised by this. Timberwolves look terrific. Defensively, I think the media is kind of overstating them a bit, but they're good. I think the thing is they're committed to defense in a league again that's just not doing that. Gobert is terrific. Towns is good on defense. And McDaniels is growing right before Jay McDaniels is growing up right before us. So he was great. Anthony Edwards has been terrific. They look hungrier than the Nuggets. That's the thing. I think the Nuggets are good, but they're kind of the Wolves look like they're really wanting. That's the difference here in this game. So they're up 2-0 right now as of this recording as well. Interesting to see if they take game 3. Can the Nuggets come back and be hungry in game 3? But I think both of these teams can win the NBA title. It wouldn't be surprising. I think the margin of victory is a bit of a surprise as well. That they won so decisively at home. That's just hunger there to go ahead and get that. Mavs and the Thunder. Thunder won the first game pretty good over the Mavericks. You know, the Mavericks have kind of stunk in these first games for a while. Like game 1, they just don't show up. I think it could be as simple as Doncic. It takes them a game or two to kind of figure it out as well. He is the alpha and the omega for them. He's got to score for them, and he's going to do it. He's going to score 30 plus, score a lot of points. So he's the alpha and the omega for them. The Thunder, I've been talking about how good he is. SGA is terrific. Chet Holmgren, the speed of you could see it like when these two teams play. This game is a up-tempo, go up and down the court. That's the Thunder's game. The Mavericks half-court sets, send it to the studs, Doncic and Kyrie Irving. That's going to determine the whole thing. So I think the Thunder still win this series as well. But I think the Mavericks are going to wake up and give them something here. Pacers and the Knicks. I got to tell you, Jalen Brunson I think this is one of the best free agent signings, I think, in the NBA history. This is exactly what you want. It kind of reminds me of James Harden when a long time ago when he signed from Oklahoma City and then he went to Houston. Like, he was a bench player, and they figured, like, well, he's got a lot of potential. If you give him some more minutes, we're going to take a chance and give him some money, and that worked out. This is working out for the Knicks. Brunson is outstanding, is terrific. He's good in all phases, hustles hard. I like his leadership as well on the court. Pacers, I don't love them. They're a bit inconsistent. I like Halliburton not in and out. I do like the Knicks pretty handily in this series. I think of all the series as well. I don't think either one of these teams has enough to beat Boston, which I really like. Boston won the first game handily. I think their shot here, the Cavs, is Donovan Mitchell's going to have to do what Doncic is. he's going to have to really, really, really carry him because I don't think they have the horsepower to go ahead and beat the Celtics. The Celtics are so calm. Like they kind of like take on. There's another team that takes like you see like the Timberwolves with their hustle and their fire and all that. They kind of take on Anthony Edwards' personality. I think it's the same here with the Celtics. Very calm. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are calm. They relax. They quickly handle it. They score points. They take very, very, very business-like for the Celtics. So Donovan Mitchell's going to have to really pull it out if they have any shot. I think maybe they win one game. I don't think they have much of a shot here. I think they're pretty much outgunned here as well. So we will continue to follow the playoffs. Happy to do that as well. All right. So talking NBA, since you brought it up. All right. Amazon. This is maybe I'm a little late with this, but this was kind of talked about. I think this was talked about last week. Amazon is likely to has acquired, it looks like, the NBA. I don't know if this is finalized, but Amazon is definitely going to have NBA games. They're going to have their own package. ESPN, apparently they're reading out their deal. So it's going to cost them more money. They're going to go ahead and continue on with the NBA on ESPN. And it looks like NBC could be back in business. So NBC could be replacing TNT with the NBA package. I could talk about. Let me talk first about the obvious. Turner has been with the NBA. If they don't have it in 2025 when the deal ends, that'll be the first time in my life where I can't remember where they didn't have it. I think they're longer consecutively than with any league. I remember Turner having the games when I was a little kid. My father inviting friends of his over to watch the Lakers and the Celtics. So I don't even know. I think it's 40 plus years. That'd be something like that. So they've had it a long time. I think they're easily the best at it as well. The inside the NBA guys, I don't think there's any question that whoever takes it is going to want all of them. If NBA does get it, I think ESPN would. I think Amazon would. So I don't think you're going to miss those guys. I think it's the best. I think the inside the NBA, I think, is the best of all the sports as far as a particular show, as far as a studio show. So it's terrific. So I don't think it's that. NBC, I think, did a great job of the NBA before. So I think definitely we will see that again as well. It's not official yet. So we're hearing it from Turner that it's not official yet. It's likely that NBC is going to be replacing them, and Turner is not going to match the bid. I think the bid was $2.5 billion. So as well. So I wanted to go over that first. The state of sports media. We talked about it a little bit last summer, especially a lot of deals are getting done now. The traditional networks are getting outbid now. It's happening, right? Amazon. I think Turner's problem is Warner Brothers is having some trouble matching these rights fees. And I think they're not gonna say that, but that's what it is, right? They don't have the money that NBC has, that Peacock has. Peacock, Comcast, they have cable, they have other businesses and things like that, where Warner Brothers really doesn't. I think that's a lot of money to spend as well. So I think that's it. Interested to see how Amazon is. This is the second one now that they're in. They're in on the NFL. They're getting the NBA. So they're definitely in the sports business now. And interesting to see how that plays out. More TV news. NFL Network could be shut down and bought by ESPN. That rumor came out this week. Lots of layoffs at the NFL Network. Michael Irvin was laid off. They laid off a lot of their staff. Melissa Stark. There was a couple more. They did cancel, big clue here, they canceled NFL Total Access, which has been their flagship show, their version of SportsCenter for years. So they're no longer going to have that. That's been bought. That's been shut down. Also to Good Morning Football. which is I don't watch a lot of Good Morning Football, but it's a very popular show with a lot of hardcore football fans. Really like Good Morning Football. It's been on hiatus. It's supposed to come back in I think it's September or August or something like that. So that's another clue. They're shutting it down and moving it as well. ESPN looks like they're in the running to go ahead and take it over as well. ESPN, NFL could just be getting out of it and just saying, hey, let ESPN go ahead and do business and take it over and buy it out. I'm not believe it or not, I'm not a big watcher of NFL Network. I never have like Total Access. I mean, I used to do a little bit of Total Access in this time of year, right? Years ago. I think that's really when it's most valuable because you can get your little football in. You used to get your little football in during the summer when it wasn't as many options and things like that. So schedule release, things like that, the draft, all that stuff. You can get your football in during the season, during the off season. So I think that's also when it's most valuable. They used to have some games; they no longer have that. So interesting to see what happens. I do think ESPN is just going to take it over in some fashion. I think it makes a lot of sense just to call it NFL ESPN. I think ESPN having its own NFL channel is a smart move. They might as well. I mean, you got. I think that's going to be the case with the restructuring. You don't need ESPN News. You don't need a lot of this other stuff. So it's interesting to say have an NFL channel. Just do NFL on one channel 24 hours a day. I think that makes a lot of sense as well. Interesting to see what happens there. Bloodletting going on in all the media. The Griot had layoffs. A lot of it's here. It's here. Traditional media is really on its last leg. So interesting to see what happens there. Let's shift to the MLB. So we kind of did some tiers. So let's talk a little bit about, let's do a power ranking for the first time. Let's do a top 5. Let's talk about who are right now. We're on May 8th as we're recording this. The best teams, May 8th, 2024. Who are the best teams in the NL in 2024 in all of Major League Baseball? So this is not just American League and National League. This is both leagues. Who is the best teams, 5 best teams in all of baseball in 2024? All right. Number 5. Yeah. I don't think my Yankee hate is as prevalent as my Steelers hate. I don't, and kind of it is because we haven't, we're not a direct rival with the Yankees. They probably wouldn't say we were the direct rival. But man, I can't stand seeing pinstripes. I would never wear a Yankee jersey. I mean, I just let's get the Yankee hate out. I mean, it's just annoying. Ever since Jeffrey Mayer in '96, I don't have much use for the Yankees. I just never have. So let's get that out there right now. All that being said, the Stankies are really good. I think Juan Soto isn't a bum at all. Juan Soto is terrific. I think you talk about some of the best players in the league right now. Juan Soto has really carried them. Judge even been off to a slow start. I think the rotation is really good. The closer is decent enough. Clay Holmes, I like him as well. I think they're going to need a little bit more offense. They kind of have the same problem, but I think they get Judge going the way Soto's been going. Torres and everything like that. They got some guys they can get going, but they're really good. They're winning a lot of games. I think they're definitely top 5 right now in the MLB. Number 4, the Dodgers. Dodgers kind of got off to a mediocre start, and now they're really killing the game. Shohei Ohtani is now off and running. He's been outstanding the last few games as well. I don't see a flaw in this team at all. There's a lot. I think it's a little top heavy, if anything. I don't know if you have bench players. I don't know if you have second line. I don't know. But look, you got Freddie Freeman. Betts is terrific. Your starting pitching is terrific. Bobby Miller, Yamamoto, it's outstanding. Kershaw, like you're still like kind of working in, etc. If you can get anything out of him, he no longer has to carry you. I think they have it. I think they have it in all phases. They're not great defensively, in my opinion. That's probably the one thing I have noticed. They're kind of like, they move some guys around a little bit, and it shows. But that's about it. I think like as the season, they'll get better defensively, and they will. They're really good. Dodgers are really good. The Baltimore Orioles. What a difference a year makes. We had this kind of same record last year, and we were just jumping for joy. And I hear a lot of negative over the Orioles record here. It is a little different team, I would say. The offense is about the same. They have a lot of good players, and they kind of spread it around a bit. Gunnar has been fantastic. Adley's been terrific. Adley is terrific as well. But they're getting it from places that they're not usually getting. This is kind of with the recipe last year. O'Hearn, last game in the game, like recently. Okay, it wasn't to get the offense going. It wasn't Gunnar and Adley and Santander and those guys and Mountcastle, who was McKenna, Ryan McKenna, and Jorge Mateo getting it going. So that's Orioles stuff. That offensively, from 1 to 9, you better be ready. That's why they're in the 3 spot. That's why they have this record here. The starters are really good. That's the difference this year. Now, the bullpen, not quite as good. That's what everybody keeps talking about. But I kind of expected that. They're getting good starting every night. If you get good starting every night with this offense, you could go a long way. I think they're really the best team in the American League. Number 2, the Phillies. The Phillies are a complete team. I think that the 3 teams at the top here, the Dodgers, the Phillies, and the number 1 team, they're really complete. Trey Turner, I think, is not getting off to a slow start this year. Trey Turner has been terrific. You got to keep Bryce Harper healthy. I think that's the thing. I've said it for the last couple of years. The Phillies, they kind of go as he goes. They need to be a little bit more diverse, do a little bit more there. But that's about good for them. Phillies are really, really talented as well. And the top 2 starters, I mean, you could just pencil that in. Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola, terrific. They have a new closer that they got rid of Kimball for. I love them. I think the Phillies are there. Not as good as Atlanta. Even with the bad news with Spencer Strider, not having him, their offense is just so talented. Even better than maybe it was last year. Kind of like the Orioles. Like, there's no miss. But the thing is, the difference here, they have a little more thunder here than even the Orioles have. They don't have Orioles don't have a Matt Olson on their team. They don't have a guy that hits 50-plus home runs. This team is good, I think, from top to bottom. I think their starters are really good. Max Fried, etc. Braves, number 1 in the MLB. There you go. Orioles are right there. Orioles are right there in the mix. Interesting, too, and we're going to do Orioles report here in a second. But you're talking about the rest of me, just to finish that. Down a little bit. A lot of these. This could be another thing the Orioles have. Astros have looked terrible so far. I mean, who expected it to be as bad as they've been? Mariners, not so great at the start. Who would have thought the A's would have been ahead of the Astros in the division? We'll see. Guardians have been really good. We'll see. But it kind of seems like, at least early, the footing in the AL is a little better for the Orioles. Interesting to see that. Orioles report. All right, so let's go ahead and talk a little Birds, do a little Orioles report here as well. So Orioles win 3 straight at the Cincinnati Reds as well. So they won all 3 games in Cincinnati. I thought they had good pitching in all 3 games. I thought the offense really broke out as well in a couple of the games as well. They were just a better team. I mean, you could clearly see that. Reds don't have a lot of offense. Looking at their order, I saw like a lot of guys hitting 190, 180. De La Cruz is terrific. Even Spencer Steer is kind of like struggling for them as well. So the Orioles pitching was just too much for them early. So I thought they were fantastic in this series. Nats, they won the first game, struggling in the second. If you're watching it right now, they're playing right now against the Nats as well. So I don't know what the score is, obviously, as of right now. But the Nats are getting better. I think they're right around 500. CJ Abram pitching kind of held the Orioles down. They don't score as much, I've noticed, against National League when they play. I don't know, for whatever reason, they kind of struggle a little bit more against the National League. But they won 1 of 1. So they had the 2 games in Washington, and they're going to get 2 games back in Baltimore. Who's hot? Ryan McKenna. I'm serious. All the Ryan McKenna people that didn't want him. Ryan McKenna's on the team. I know why him and not a Kyle Stowers. He knows he's not going to play every day. That's why he's here. So he could just play sparingly, play a little defense, and be okay with that. You don't feel like you're messing the player up to actually do that with Ryan McKenna. That's why he's there. And he's been good. I mean, I don't think there's any question about it. You got to give him some credit here. Gunner's been good all year long. We know how good Gunner has been. Gunner, I think, is probably in the running for MVP here for the first month. Certainly one of the best players in the American League in the first month. So he's been really good. So I got Gunner there. Dean Kramer is here. Who's hot category? A lot of the rotation is. I mean, but this is the one for sure that I haven't mentioned yet. Dean, not so good in his first 2 starts. His last 3 have been really, really good. Dean, man, we just gotta keep him rolling. The thing with him, he's just not always as consistent as the other ones, but he's been good here at the start. He's matched every little bit a lot of these guys. Orioles greats will be honored this summer. Nick Markakis, slugger and hitting coach Terry Crowley, and scout Dick Bowie will be elected to the Orioles Hall of Fame. So good for them. Terry Crowley, I think, is a long-time coach with the Orioles organization. One of the more underrated guys in the organization, kind of put him in there with Albrad Hendricks, Cal Sr., as far as like one of the long-time coaches, long-time contributors to the Orioles organization. Nick Markakis, I think, I think the Orioles have had a better team. He would get Hall of Fame consideration. He won't get into the Hall of Fame, but I think like if he had played the playoffs for several years, had like playoff appearances and things like that with his numbers, power numbers not as good as maybe like Gunner, the salt and the pepper. One is the one. So Gunner's the hitter, the technician, or whatever, and then Adam Jones was the thunder. Adam Jones was the power hitter, hit more, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So they were a good combination for a long time. So good to see Markakis actually go into the Orioles Hall of Fame. Grayson Rodriguez, that is. Just save that space there. Shoulder play catch 60 to 75 feet. Rodriguez landed on the injured list with shoulder inflammation on April 29th. This is according to Jacob Meyer from the Baltimore Sun. I don't think he's going to be on DL long. He's already out there pitching. I almost think this is a rest thing that they're doing as well. I'm sure there's an injury, but shoulder inflammation, things like that. The pitching has been rolling so good that they wanted to get those guys in the rotation. Interesting to see when everybody's healthy. Interesting to see what they do because Cole Irvin has definitely earned his spot. So interesting to see if they put him in the bullpen in spite of what he's done. Because you're not going to put Rodriguez in the bullpen. You're not going to put Burns in the bullpen. I doubt you put Dean Kramer in the bullpen as well. And John Means off to a good start. What do you do? Good problem to have. Good problem to have when you have that type of production there as well. This week, so you're going to have games. You're going to finish up with the Nationals. as well. They're going to have 2 games in Baltimore on Wednesday and tomorrow. So you're going to have that. Then you're going to have the Diamondbacks and the Toronto Blue Jays in town as well. So keep that in mind. D-backs not nearly as good this year. Kind of struggling a bit. Their division is really tough. I think out there with the Braves in that division, a lot of money spent out there. Interesting to see if they can bounce back as well. Blue Jays, they kind of have the same problem. They don't play well against the good teams. They kind of beat bad ones and can't do well against the good ones. So interesting task for the Orioles to see if they can go ahead and get that taken care of. Austin Hayes is going to begin a rehab assignment with the Bowie Bay Sox on Tuesday. So yesterday he had his first rehab assignment as well. Moving back quickly, again, good problem to have. Very interesting to see. You got Kjerstad in the majors. You got Colton Cowser in the majors. You got you still have Mark Kagan. Not Mark Kagan. I was just talking about Mark Kagan. You still got Santander, and you still have Cedric Mullins. Interesting to see what happens there. Does he start when he gets back? I'm not so sure. I think Cowser, even though he's cool, might have been able to go ahead and snare away the starting job. Real quick, went right over this one. I'm sorry. Who's not? Colton Cowser. Speaking of that, that reminded me of that. Colton Cowser as well. Good start, not so good lately. I think he's kind of cooled a bit. He's kind of slipped down in the order as well. Santander did have the long home run over the weekend as well, but he hasn't been so good really all season. Kind of been struggling the whole way. Still not too worried about it. He's still getting those home runs here and there, and he's streaky. He'll have next week. He'll hit like 5. He'll have 5 more home runs. So he's definitely streaky. Bauman really got to maybe make a decision here pretty soon on Bauman. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Mike Bauman as well. Player of the week, Adley. Love Adley. Adley is my favorite player. Just so consistent. So consistent. The measure of a man is as saying he's consistently good. You know, when a man goes and he does things in life that he's consistent. He's consistently raising his children well. He's consistently coming to work and excelling at it. He's consistently going out in the world and he's consistent. And that's what Adley is. Just giving you something good every day, all the time. I love Adley is a tremendous player. So I'm definitely giving him player of the week. There you go. All right. I want to thank you. Thank you all. Thank you for helping to grow this. Thank you for taking the time to spend with us here and watch the Ravery Sports podcast. Like and subscribe to all of our social media people there. Having a platform like social media, this has been a great experience for me. I've had the time of my life doing this, and having more of you watching is really, really gratifying for me as well. So definitely check us out. Keep an eye on a giveaway we're going to be having pretty soon. Okay. So I'm not sure I'm going to be announcing that on the podcast here, but definitely keep an eye on our social media, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, etc. We're going to be probably having a giveaway here pretty soon as well. Maybe you get a Ravens jersey. You never know. Have a great day. Thank you for watching. You have a great rest of your